Speaking of developers, I'm going to shut
Yes.
up.
Let's talk about 16-bit labs. You want to do that? Let's do that. I think that's
Let's
a
do
good
that.
topic. Okay. Before we run out of time. Okay. So Andrea, you are, as I understand it, a junior developer, a young developer. What's the term here? We need a cool term for what you do.
I don't know.
Well, we'll go with junior developer in the meantime. So tell us, how old are you?
I just turned 17.
Just turned 7. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. About 10 days ago.
Oh, great, awesome. And so you have a game called Ice Hero, which you can go to
Yeah.
iceherogame.com and look up. I highly recommend it. It's on for Android and iOS, correct?
Yeah.
And when did you
Yes, it
become a
is.
developer?
About 2 years ago, I subscribed to Apple developers, and I paid $90 a year.
And that was your first introduction to it. Did you use Objective C at the time?
Yeah, I first started with Objective-C, and for about 2 or 3 months, and I saw that it was uh, yeah, yes, it is, and it was really complex and hard programming language, Objective-C, and so I discovered Corona SDK, and I just switched from Objective-C to Corona, and I saw that it was a whole new planet, really different from Objective-C, and a lot easier. So I just switched. Yeah,
Awesome.
and yeah. Well, I
So
first started programming when I was 10 because I wanted to create a website about video games and consoles, and I just started with HTML and PHP and MySQL and all that stuff, and I learned all by myself, watching on websites and Google it, googling it, and I created a website called weekend.com, which spelled WIIKAN.com, which was a website about Nintendo and its consoles.
okay, and so that was when you
Uh,
were 10.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
and I started with PHP and MySQL.
So yeah, I noticed when I went to iceherogame.com that you had an about section there, and it listed all your programming skills and stuff, and it was a pretty impressive list. I was very impressed. So have
Mm.
you always been a self-taught type person?
Yeah, yes. Now I'm frequenting a informatic school here in Italy, and they teach programming languages like C or C++, and we um, we studied about for 3 or 4 months assembly 8086 assembly for that, yeah, and then like HTML and CSS and stuff like that.
So
Very
how are you
simple.
liking to learn assembly language?
Yeah, yeah.
How is that?
It was
Interesting?
it was
Difficult?
yeah, really interesting. Really. A bit difficult, but it was really interesting,
Oh, good. Good.
I think.
those types of things. There's of course obviously there's applications for assembly language. People still need that type of granularity, but I think it's a good thing to be introduced to, because then it makes you more conscious of your programming. What you when you
Mhm.
have that, you're that limited on what you can do, right? I mean, that stringent programming builds good
Mhm.
habits. So
Yeah.
how long did it take you
Mhm.
to develop Ice Hero?
Well, about 2 years, because I didn't program it every day, so I had a little break between programming, and it took me about 2 years. I started when I was 14. Uh, it was June 2011 when I first started with Corona SDK. It was in 2011, yeah, about 2 years ago. And I downloaded Corona SDK, which had a really different API, com um, with which I don't know how to say. Corona
It's a different,
SDK had a very different API.
yeah, it's a completely different way of
It
doing
was
things.
yeah, it had very basic functions, and and now it has a lot of stuff that it hadn't when I firstly downloaded in 2011.
Gotcha.
It really changed in these 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. So, what? This is a very well put together game. Did you do the artwork yourself, or did you have somebody else? Did you collaborate with somebody to
Yeah,
do that, or how'd that work?
no, I did all stuff starting for the design of the game. I I designed it with Photoshop for the graphics part, and yeah, programming. I used an editor on Mac OS X, and yeah, I really made all about myself using Photoshop mainly for the graphics. Uh, I really watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube how to create cartoon graphics with Photoshop and all this stuff. And it was very funny when I I I made the trailer for the game because I used Adobe After Effects, and it was really funny and interesting.
So you did it.
All the physics.
So you did it. You did all this. You did all of this. You did the programming and the design and
Yeah,
the game trailer and everything yourself.
yeah, and the website and all the PR stuff, sending a lot of emails to review websites and just to make know my application in Word, and I do all everything about my game. The only thing that I didn't do is the economic part of the game, which which it was financed by my father, which helped me a lot with this part of money, obviously, and he helped me buying Chrome SDK and the Apple license for developers, but all the other stuff I did all by myself.
That's incredible. So, uh, how did you get around signing up for a developer as someone who legally, I guess, I mean, I guess it's the same rules apply kind of in Italy. Can you sign legal documents as a minor?
Yes, but I think I couldn't uh, get money from my app. only I could subscribe only if my app was free.
Okay. Okay. And did you do that? Did you go that route? Are you? I mean, is there a? Are you going to be making money off of your app or what?
At this time, it's all free and there's no advertisement in the app. So I didn't earn nothing, and I was thinking to add some ads in the app just to see if I can earn some money, but I don't think I will put some ads in the app. I will think about it, but
Yeah.
now I didn't earn nothing, anything.
So you got the experience, but no payday
Yeah,
as far as revenue. So
only
are you
experience.
on the experience, which is a very valuable thing? Yeah, you can't. You're talking about what I hear is that you taught yourself from YouTube. You
Mm.
signed up and taught yourself the programming. You
Yeah.
did all these things that most universities charge for. So if you equated that to a
Mm.
programming education, you could probably say it's you've earned quite a bit from the app. Um, so I'm kind of curious. So did you then sign up as a developer and say that your apps are just going to be free? Is that what you did?
They they didn't ask me. So when you subscribe, if I remember, Apple doesn't ask you your age.
Okay.
How old are you? So I just subscribed and they asked me the name of my company. So I wrote down, I think about a name that of a company that doesn't exist. And I chose 16-bit labs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The reason I ask is because we've had some other developers on the show who are young developers as well, and they've run into the issue of not being able to sign up as a developer without being of age, without being able to sign legal documents, and they've either had to have a guardian sign up for them on their behalf, or the other option was to create an entity, some sort of company that they could that entity could sign up for the program and then
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. So I was just curious what your experience was like with that.
Yeah.
This.
I did it in this way. I create a company that doesn't exist.
Okay. Okay. So you created a company that it doesn't exist and then used it that way. So what?
Yeah.
So as someone who is outside the U.S. Do you target U.S. audiences, or I mean, I know you said you sent information to review sites and stuff like that. Is that something that you actively target U.S. audiences, and how does that work?
Well, I sent a lot of emails to review websites about uh, 100 or 200 of emails to a lot of websites, Italian and in the whole world. And I don't know. Well, the first day, the downloads of the app were about 1,000 only in the US. So I don't know how this works. If I thought because my app was brand new, so it was on top of the list, and it was viewed by a lot of persons, mainly in the US. So I think that maybe this is the main reason why my app was downloaded by 1,000 of US persons. And I don't think you just had to have a unique product, and if it is high quality, make it know around the world. And
Okay.
this is the only.
Go on.
I think this is the only way to make it known to everybody.
Gotcha. Yeah, the reason I ask is because normally, at least again from the U.S. side, it seems like advertisers in general, and this is not necessarily Apple or anybody, but Apple online advertisers in general tend to look at U.S., the U.K., Australia, English-speaking uh, countries, and then everything else kind of falls outside of that. But I know that we've got a ton of developers who are outside the U.S. So I'm really curious as to how they see the marketing landscape and whether or not they try to focus on U.S. markets, or they just try to focus on their own markets or the areas around them, or how does that break down? So.
Well, before I published my app, my achieve was to reach all countries around the world, to not only Italy but all countries. So the only thing that you have to do is to develop your app and write everything in English, so everyone can read it. And the second part is to make it known, sending emails to our review websites. But I think it didn't work for me because I had response only by Italian review websites and not so much by the others. So what I think is
Go ahead.
Yeah, what I think is only to have a unique product, and if it's unique, and it will be known by everybody.
Gotcha. Do you feel like you got a good response from the Italian websites?
Yeah.
Do you?
I've been reviewed by about 30 Italian websites.
Okay.
And I've been reviewed by EGN Italy. Did you know EGN?
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's a very important website.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know. I don't speak for you, but in my own perception is that success or failure is only based on what we expect the outcome to be. Like you say, but at the end of the day, if you get a great response from Italian review sites, then maybe lean into that market and see what comes out of it, right? I mean, it's kind of like what I'm trying to say is that if I find out that my app does really well in some obscure market, then that's a market that needs to be serviced, right? As long as it's profitable to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great story. I'm really impressed by the fact that you've put all this stuff together yourself. Because if you look at the app, if you go and download it, anybody who's listening, I highly encourage you to download Ice Hero, because it's very well put together. I mean, everything, and it's interesting to hear you say that you watched YouTube videos to learn how to do cartoon graphics and stuff like that, because it seems like in video games, the graphics need to be done a certain way in order for the characters to really stand out and pop and things like that, and you seem to have nailed that.
Yeah.
In your game, so very good job, very good job. So what's your next? Do you have another game on the drawing board, or are you working on the next thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about new apps, and I think my next app won't be a game, but I think probably I'd say a app. I don't remember the term. That is not a game, but a utility app.
Okay. Okay, a utility app.
Yeah, because I think that I could earn more money from a utility app, maybe which could be unique and never done before.
Gotcha. Yeah, you know, it's games are a hot market, but there's a lot of people playing in it, sure. So yeah, having something that's unique certainly helps to stand out. Uh, how do you keep track of your ideas? Do you have a notebook or something that you write down? Do you have ideas that come to you on a regular basis?
Yeah, I developed all my things before to start programming or designing it on Photoshop. I wrote down everything on paper, and I got a lot of papers here in my bedroom, in my desk, on my desk. I've got about 100 of papers, right, with all my ideas and all levels to put in the game. Because now in my game there are 27 levels, but I created about hundreds of levels, and I choose the best one. And but there are a lot of other levels that I didn't put in the game. And everything I think and I do before developing it, I write down on paper, because I think it's the best thing to do before start programming or everything to do. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
I think wrote down everything on paper.
I think you could take what you have. You could take your game and you could turn it into a program for teaching people how to build games. You know, and teach people in your local area or online or whatever how to do what you've done, because it's not just the code, it's the design, it's the concept, it's the artwork, I mean you've done it all yourself, so you know all the pieces of it, and I think you could turn that into a business as well, so that's great. I tell you what, I use a thing here called Good Notes. I don't know if you have an iPad or not, but I have a thing called Good Notes, and it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's great for drawing ideas, and it has little highlighters in it, and you can take pictures of things. You can pull things from your photo library. So if you do screenshots, and you can mark them up and draw on them, and then if you get kind of the screen gets kind of crowded, you can highlight a section of the text or images or whatever, and move them around, and it's fantastic. I've got to the point where now I keep it by the bed, and at night I'll wake up with an idea or something, and I'll just scribble it out and then go back to sleep because I captured it. But so that's how I keep ideas these days.
What's the name of that app?
It's called Good Notes, and they have a light version, so you can download it and play with it if you want. But but I highly recommend it. I mean, it has become my go-to thing. I mean, it's on the taskbar, so I use it all the time. But yeah, and I don't use a I have a stylus, but I mean, most of the time I use my finger, and you can zoom in on it and write with it and zoom out, and it's just great. I mean, you can even draw. I've even drawn pictures for entire designed start screens and stuff with it, just because of the way it works. Let's see here. See if I can. So here's a start screen that I was playing with, and I mean it's rough, but it gets the concept across. I mean, if I had to show that to a client, I wouldn't be embarrassed to show it to them. I'd be like, something like this, that would be good. So,
yeah.
Well, Andrea, thank you for being on the show with us, and thank you for sharing your story with us. So if anyone wants to go to iceherogame.com, you can download the game. Like Andrea said, it's free. It's on iOS. It's on Android. And it looks beautiful. It runs beautifully on both platforms. So I dig it. I haven't downloaded it. Is it on the Amazon store? Is it there yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So yeah, get it on your Nexus and play it. There's a couple of levels there that if you figure out how to beat them, let me know. Because I'm stuck in a few places. I've actually gone to okay, how do I hack this level? How do I just can I just go here? Can I just like completely skip the puzzle and just get him into the
Hey, there
portal?
you go. In-app purchase idea. Let people
It
buy
is.
skipping coins. Then they can skip the levels they get stuck on. For people
I
like
would-
Charles.
You know what?
Maybe.
I would. Especially because there's a couple of levels, and this is just fun feedback. There's a couple of levels in the beginning, maybe 5 or 6 levels deep, that I was really stuck, and I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to get any further." And so if you gave me 3 or 4 coins, maybe like 3 coins, right, to kind of test it out and skip, and then made it really hard early on, then I could skip,
Yeah.
and then you could make it easy for me a little bit, and then
Hmm.
and then later on, when I'm fully invested in the game, like I'm on like 20 levels deep, then you can say, well, you want to buy some coins, buy some skip coins.
Yeah. Could be idea.
Yeah, I'd buy $1 worth. So.